G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for my finals week 1 footy tips ahead of the first week of finals. Just want to say, for all those that joined my live stream last night for the Cardi medal, thank you very much. It was a huge success. We ended up getting over 1.6 concurrent live viewers, which is a Cardman stream record, and I'm really excited for the future of the channel, just doing more projects and stream like that. And the reason I'm mentioning it as well, it kind of led to why this video was out a day late. Now, I was considering maybe not even doing this video, but I thought a lot of people still want to hear what I have to say heading into tomorrow, which is the Adelaide v Collingwood game. And I haven't missed a footy tipping week since like 2021, so there's no point in just missing it for the sake of it. I am doing another really big video involving ladder predictions. I'm getting, finals predictions. I'm getting 100 AFL creators to all send me through their finals predictions. I still need another 25 responses. So if you're watching this, either I've asked you or if you want to be a part of it and you're of sort of relative note, just send me a message. I'll put the graphic on screen. If you either send me a message saying I want to be in it, or send me a message saying, hey, these are my little predictions in the video, and I'll put them in. If you send like a video and you are of a known creator, I'll just put it in. Now this will be the final week. We do review the big tipping for a proper round of footy, and we'll go and take a look at how round 24 went. It did feel like an eternity ago that round 24 actually happened. I got a 7 out of 10, but I actually feel like I probably got a 9. Now, I was forced to tip Collingwood in this game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be doing it in the final series. But as you can take a look, obviously Carlton winning against Essendon. Melbourne almost did beat Collingwood, and I did tip Port Adelaide. So I actually don't know how I ended up tipping Gold Coast. I would have been proud of tipping Port in a sort of an upset. Adelaide, Geelong, Sydney, GWS. Freo did get the upset win, and obviously now are in finals because of that. And Brisbane and Gold Coast did win in the final 2 games. So I would have got a 9 out of 10. That's just a quick little review to see, the tips for last week. But this is where it really matters now. The footy tipping comp, after round 24, there are 9 games to go. And Skivo is currently leading with a score of 179. Harry 09, Lachlan Beat, PJRM, and DOS all in the top 5. These are the prizes. Looks like Skivo is going to take home something at the very least. Round 24, we saw a couple of people getting a perfect score using their joker, which means they get 10 plus 1 plus 10. So Banana Toby and Billy 2010 jumping up in the rankings. Normally 9 is a perfect score, but it isn't. So Angus, Pasindu, Up the Lions, Stupid Sexy Flanders, Annie G, Tom Boz, Isaac, Flag Mantle, Archer the Goat, Jack Smig, Benny Campbell, Dakes, Luke Jagoni, Pastor Master, Dark Rebellion. Obviously, AFL Fantasy is wrapped up, so let's go and take a look at AFL Fantasy. And for AFL Fantasy, I will go through the big calls after this. AFL Fantasy, the winner for my AFL Fantasy ladder is Eddie J. Congratulations, with a 50,647. Only 40 odd more than Wilson Q, who finished in second place. I just sort of hit a really big fall. That's kind of because I sort of stopped with a few rounds to go when finals came around. So yeah, I ended up getting 142nd in the league. Next year in fantasy, I'm going to be definitely putting in probably even more effort. We'll make certain leagues where we actually don't just do ladders. We'll actually do like head-to-head leagues. So let me know if you're interested in that. Maybe comment down below. I'm into the fantasy and you want to see that. And maybe even I can do a super coach. I'm looking into doing some super coach as well. Now we'll go through the big calls now. I actually will be doing a big call punishment for this week. But just for finals week 1, I've decided we'll carry it over for 1 more week. West Coast Sydney. I said that the Eagles would be leading at half time, and they were. How good is that? Yeah, unfortunately, I ended up only getting the 2 correct because I did say the last game the Suns would kick 12 more goals in any half, but I needed to get 1 more right. And it didn't end up happening. So that's a bit disappointing. Final sort of opportunity for these punishments here. Remember, you can comment them down below for this week. But for last week, let's see what got the most likes. Zabe Bell's punishment was visit every AFLW ground in Victoria, which means every game that has scheduled a game for AFLW. Doesn't necessarily mean I have to be going to the games for AFLW, but at some stage before the end of the punishment stop, I need to have attended all of the games that will have played AFLW games in Victoria. That is going to really be a big freaking difficulty. Also, if you haven't seen it, I did complete another punishment over the last couple of weeks. I went to the Richmond Geelong game, Had 2 litres of chalky milk, ran 4 laps of the MCG. I'll post a separate video on more Cardman when I get the chance to. The goal obviously is 60,000 subscribers for the end of the year, 58,000 subscribers for the end of the final series. So it'd be great if you guys could hit the subscribe button. We got the creative predictions for finals. We got the video at the Barossa coming out very soon. We got the stadiums video. Fuck, we got so many videos. We got the video from round 11, and we got the whole final series ahead of us with a lot of content ideas that I've got planned, just like the Cardi Medal stream. But anyways, let's get into the tips for round 1 of finals. So this is week 1 tips. Yeah, this one's going to be an absolute, awesome game of footy. Adelaide, Collingwood. Head-to-head wise, Collingwood in the last 10 or so appearances have gotten the better of Adelaide, but Adelaide did break the hoodoo in the game a few weeks ago where they got the win by 3 points. You can't read a lot into that game, I don't think. I mean, in that game, it was really poor conditions with the rain. So this one will be a bit more dry, so I think it should be freed up a little bit. I think overall the game's going to be really hotly contested, highly congested footy. I think Adelaide are going to be up for this game. It's whether or not I think Collingwood will be, because Collingwood haven't had a very good or convincing finish to the last 8 weeks. They've lost their last 5 games to top 8 teams, one of them being Adelaide. But in that game against the Crows, you could argue they were just about as good as they've been in all those losses, because 71 inside 50s to 39, they really should have broke the wall and gotten through Adelaide's defence. But for credit to Adelaide, their defence is the best in the league, and that's going to be something as well. Do Collingwood have enough goal kickers to put up a big enough score? Because I think Adelaide certainly do. What is happening with Collingwood? Collingwood don't have Jeremy Howe again. He's the backbone for their, defence. He is what keeps them organised. He leads the other defenders. With the Crows, in terms of ins, I believe Michelani might be back in. Rochelle, I think, still another week or 2. Rankin obviously not playing. And Collingwood, I don't think Hill's in the team, and I don't know about De Goey. I think De Goey should still be playing. If De Goey can bring that little X factor, he's a really important player because he hasn't really gotten going all year. Another important player as well for Collingwood is Dan Houston. He's just been really quiet for the majority of the season, and he hasn't shown what he has been capable of at Port Adelaide. If he can just add another 25 or 30% more to his season in this game in the final, that could be enough for maybe Collingwood to get enough, really good ball movement heading their way and possibly win the game. Big game of footy. It's going to be a 54,000 crowd. In my finals predictions, I was leaning towards Adelaide. I still am. But throughout this entire last week, the more I look at it, the more I go, geez, Collingwood always stand up in the finals. I just don't think they're going to have a poor game. But Adelaide have been so good at home. They've only lost 1 game, and you could argue that wasn't even a home game for the gather round. I'm going to have to back the Crows in, but this game is going to be really good. It'll be the first and only week 1 live stream game on the channel. But I'm going to be having to tip Adelaide here because I just think Adelaide been in a lot better form, and they're at home. So the finals experience isn't there for Adelaide. It is there for Collingwood, but Collingwood's slow old legs, will that, sort of catch up on them? I don't know. We're going Adelaide by 10 points. And my big call, I actually think it's going to be really low scoring. Kind of like the last 7-8 occasions between these two sides. It's always low scoring. No team will score over 70 points. Friday night footy, we have Geelong taking on Brisbane at the MCG. Now, this is the game I have been most looking forward to for this entire final series in the first week 1. Just in terms of how I think this game's going to be played, I think it's going to be extremely entertaining. Just like last year, both sides are really quick when they want to be, and Brisbane's midfield, when they're on, they are humming. They were so good in the final series last year at the MCG, and I don't think this MCG stadium really worries the Lions. I mean, the Cats, yeah, they're going to have more fans in this game, and they play pretty solid footy at the MCG. They beat Collingwood, I think, earlier in the year, but Brisbane, they had an 11 or 12 week, or they might have had even more games in a row where they didn't win a game at the MCG. It was a huge hoodoo. After they broke that, they've now won their last 5 games at the MCG, including the grand final. And I know that last loss, I think, was in the grand final of Collingwood 2023. They only lost that by 4. So I'm almost guaranteeing you that Brisbane are going to fight for this game. The Cats, their form heading into finals is pretty solid. They have won their last 5 games, looking at the chart there. I know a lot of their games have been soft kill games, but they're currently the premiership favourites. So the winner of this game, a lot of people have been saying the winner of this game probably is the favourite to win the flag. And I would agree with that. I even still think the loser of this game has a very good chance of still finding a way into the grand final. These are the 2 teams with a lot of finals experience. Brisbane, we know what they've been able to do. Geelong, they're in the finals every other year. Now, a couple of players just, that I'm thinking that could be really big influences in this game. Obviously, in the middle for the Cats, you got Smith and Holmes. If you can sort of take away their impact, then the Lions are going to go a real chance of winning this game, especially someone like Bailey Smith. When you nullify his impact, like we've seen the Saints do this year, it sort of changes the way they play. Tom Stewart, he's been someone who's not had his best season, but he's been finding form at the right time, and he'd be huge for the Cats here. Being able to take those intercept marks and just stopping the Lions from getting their forward entries right. Logan Morris is going to be an exciting watch, and I think Cam Rayner, he was sort of that difference maker last week, or last time they played in the final. So, and Lockie Neal was also coming back into the side as well. So, strengths in their midfield. I've been thinking Brisbane all week, but something just feels to me that maybe the Cats actually do it. This is that 50-50 game. This is a game I'll be attending. I think I got a level 1 ticket. I'm tipping the Cats here. I was tipping Brisbane like a couple of days ago, but that's why finals predictions and week 1 predictions are a little bit different. I always like to change it up a bit. And this is such a 50-50 game that it could go either way, but I'm going the Cats. I don't know. I just think maybe MCG factor, but it does. I think genuinely it's just 50-50 and just more of a gut feel. I think the Cats find a way, but Brisbane can easily win it. I'm going to go the Cats by 3. Big call, there'll be 9 or more lead changes, and I think there will be, like last year. It's just going to be one of those games where sides will get their own wave of momentum. Now, I forgot to put the scarves up for the first 2 games, so for those that do like the fact that I put them up, we'll do it for the last 2. I do apologise for that. So this game is the 3:15 on the Saturday. GWS Hawthorn. Another game when you look at like the tipsters and the odds, it's probably the most evenly matched up heading into the first week. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I will be going to this game. I was going to go to the Freo Gold Coast game, but I got convinced enough to go to this game instead. So I'll be still making myself a trip to an interstate final. And I'm going with a Hawthorn friend who probably wants me to support Hawthorn. So even though I like the Giants more as a club, I'm probably going to be backing in Hawthorn in the game. Doesn't mean I'll think they'll win. I think this is one of those games as well where it's just who stands up more on the day. Both teams are having big ins, especially the Giants. I believe Hogan, after his foot injury, looks to be heading back into the team. They haven't confirmed the team ins yet, but imagining him, Josh Kelly, and Brent Daniels. He hasn't played much footy this year. Big ins. Hawthorn have Josh Weddle, another big in. Looks like he's confirmed in as well. I think the Giants might be a little bit stronger in the midfield department, but Hawthorn's defense this year has been really solid. And I think that's going to be a really good matchup, like a Josh Battle, Barras on, like a Cadman, or the Giants. I had them in my finals predictions being the side that could make it to the grand final. Their talent is as good as anyone. We saw what they did against Sydney for a quarter. Their very best footy is about as good as any team in the comp, but it's just they don't play that footy often enough, and they're very often out of games. They either start slowly. Hawthorn, I can easily see getting a jump on the Giants here, maybe get a 4 to 5 goal start. And given it's a final, a 4 to 5 goal start could almost be a loss there. Can the Giants rely on starting slow and building into games? Because they've been doing that all year. That's what makes me a bit nervous on GWS here. I can see a result here for Hawthorn. They've been alright against the top 8 teams this year. They just have, I've said it a few times, they haven't found results as often as they probably wanted to. Because I remember against Fremantle, they were up at 3/4 time. They were up against Adelaide for a lot of that game. They were up at 3/4 time against Gold Coast, up in Darwin. And so in these away games, they've been able to stand strong. So that's why I don't think the Giants are going to blow Hawthorn out. I'm quite confident in the fact that they aren't going to do that. In fact, if there's a team to blow a certain side out, I'm actually more inclined to believe the Hawks are going to blow the Giants out if this is a blowout. I think GWS best is better than Hawthorn's best, so that's why my tip is going to be swaying more towards the Giants. Because again, with Hawthorn, without Will Day especially, I just think they're not going to be as strong in the midfield, in that might win the game, the Giants here. So I'm going to be tipping the Giants. I'll be going to this game, but I'm hoping for a good game of footy, and I think this will be. When I did my finals predictions with creators, a lot of them think this could actually go down to extra time, so that'd be awesome. But I'm going to say the Giants win by 11. And I haven't talked about this man, but Toby Green is probably the most important player for the Giants, and I think he's just going to carry them on their back if he needs to. I think he kicks 4 or more goals as my big call. And the final game on the Saturday night, we do have Freo taking on Gold Coast at Optus Stadium. Now, this one's a bit of a weird matchup because there's a part of me that thinks this is going to be an extremely intriguing matchup, especially given the fact that it's Gold Coast's first ever final series and it's sort of a history-making moment. But then there's also that part of me that thinks this game might not really be that worthy of a matchup because it is the first final series for Gold Coast. There are very few players on the list that have played finals footy. They've never played as a whole, and I just don't know if in this campaign, especially away from home, the biggest road trip in footy going from Queensland to Perth, I just don't think that's going to go well for them. I think Fremantle are going to have a 58, 59,000 strong home dominant crowd, and I think it might be a little bit too much for Gold Coast in a game like this. Freo have been underrated this year. They've been sort of getting their wins sort of without anyone really hyping them up. But that win against the Bulldogs really is what got people going. Geez, Fremantle have a chance at maybe shaking a few things up in the final series, because that win was so good, especially in that second quarter. When they want to play a fast attacking style of footy, then they can do it really, really well. And they scored over 100 points. So their attack is strong. Their defense was strong for a lot of that game. And I think Freo have a lot of the right pieces. They might not be yet ready for a flag. I love to see the Gold Coast go through and win this game, and I want to see this game be competitive. There's just something that isn't really right for me sitting in my stomach. I just think Gold Coast, considering this is an away final and they did slip up against Port, I think when the pressure's on Gold Coast a lot of the time, they don't stand up in the pressure. If it's a home game, it's a bit different, but when it's an away game, I can't remember the last away game against a top 8 team where Gold Coast went as underdogs and actually won. That is a genuine question. So because of that alone, I just don't think it's going to happen in a final. I think Freo are going to be too strong. I don't think any sides have any key plays coming back in the team. I mean, Hayden Young obviously came into the team against the Dockers, and he had a solid impact. Gold Coast are bringing back in David Swallow for possibly his last game, which is a great feel-good story. Maybe that gets him up and about potentially. You know, that could be a bit of extra motivation for the Suns, given he's been around for so long, played almost 250 games at one club at the Suns, and obviously hasn't played a final until now. But I think I'm definitely just going to lean on the Dockers here to be a bit safe, and I think it could be one of those games where there's a blowout, because we always get an unexpected blowout or an expected blowout in a final series, and for the first week, I don't think we'll get all games being competitive and close. I think there'll be one game that might be a little bit more of a blowout, and most likely this is going to be the game. Hopefully the Suns win. If the Suns do win, I'll try my best to head to their final the week after, and it could be against Geelong. It even could be against Brisbane, and I'd consider that, but I am going to be tipping Freo to win this game, and I'm going to tip them to win by 55 points. A big call. The Dockers will kick the first 4 goals of the game. So those are my tips for the first week of finals. My big calls will still happen for this week, but just this week only. So I'll just need to get one of these finals predictions correct for my big calls. So I did tip Adelaide to beat Collingwood, Geelong to beat Brisbane. That one, I genuinely changed it. I could have seen Brisbane winning. I've gone the Giants just because I've got belief in them, but Hawthorn can win. And Freo, I just think win, to be honest. I just think they're going to be a way too strong side. I'll be streaming Adelaide Collingwood on Thursday night, so that'll be tomorrow. And on Saturday, I probably won't be able to stream the Freo v Gold Coast game, but GWS Hawthorn, I'll be vlogging that. I'll release a video probably Sunday. And Brisbane Geelong, I'll vlog a full match experience at the game, get some of the crowd. I'll try and do some more interviews. I haven't done finals interviews all game. Before the game, I'll do some finals interviews for both Brisbane v Geelong and GWS v Hawthorn. So if you want to see that, you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get 58k subs by grand final day and 60,000 by the end of the year. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and we'll see you very soon for some more content.